Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. We wore t-shirts for each other. Yours is Dr. Redlener's great organization helping the kids in Ukraine, and I am just for all of the saying, off to Putin on every level. So,
Here.
Philip, can we? I guess I'm gotten so used to and exhausted with the Republican Party just being traitors. I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. These are Putin's marching orders.
Yeah, I am a veteran broadcaster of over 25 years, and I am going to have to bite my tongue because I'm going to have to watch my language because this infuriates me beyond belief. I live with these people. I have seen the suffering in Ukraine, and the fact I thought it was awful enough that the GOP was holding hostage aid to Ukraine over their presupposed concern about the border. But then to find out that they don't even care about the border, that there is no way, no scenario in which they would support Ukraine and give aid to these people who are suffering daily. We have been attacked repeatedly here in Kiev. It is clear there is an ammunition shortage. I saw last week missiles streaking up into the sky for air defense, something we have had because of the Patriot system that America gave to Ukraine was positioned here. And now we're forcing Ukraine, because of a lack of ammunition, to decide whether to protect their troops on the front line or to protect their citizens in the cities and the villages. That is a disgusting decision that we are
Thank
forcing
you. Yeah,
upon.
and you tweeted about that,
it's
Phil.
Awful.
And I got to say, I saved Brett from Midas Touch's tweet. It's so exhausting to have to try to explain how this is in America's self-interest. That it is a teeny sliver of our defense budget. He said, when we give Ukraine aid, we're not dropping bags of money at Zelensky's house like Republicans want you to believe. We're funding American contractors to make weapons and supplies to send to Ukraine. It's an investment in America in more ways than one. It not only helps the economy, it also is the most cost-effective way to deter and damage Russia. Plus, contrary to what Republicans say, it prevents America and our allies from being forced to send troops. You let Ukraine fall, Putin will continue on to other countries, eventually encroaching on NATO territory. Funding Ukraine is in our national security interests.
100%.
I was going to say, what don't they get? But they do get that. They just don't care, I guess.
They just don't care, or alternatively, there are those who are fellow travelers with Putin's vision of the world, this autocratic vision of the world. And that's exactly what Ukrainians are fighting against. I don't know why it's so hard, we as a former colony of an empire, to understand another colony of an empire wanting to break free and have self-determination. Why is that hard to understand? The people of Ukraine do not want to live under the thumb of Moscow. And if Moscow wins here, it will send a signal around the globe that America is not to be depended upon, that we're a bad ally, and that also autocracies can win over democracies.
And
that's where we are.
Yeah, and can I just say, Jody, have I ever mentioned to you that I will die mad about 2016?
No, that's the first I've heard of it.
Part of it is because Putin helped their guy and them. Yeah. And so they are traitors to the United States. And so this is, David Frum tweeted, that I was thinking, Phil, how everything is interconnected now, right? We're having Malcolm Nance coming up. He's obviously been in Ukraine, went to Israel, but he said on October 20th, President Biden asked for $106 billion to aid Ukraine and Israel against attacks by Russia, Iran, and their proxies. For 100 days, House Republicans have said no. Today, Iranian proxies have killed Americans. I mean, it's another one. Where are the large-scale sweeping protests to get funding for Ukraine against Russian attacks now that funding has stalled due to Putin's puppets in Congress? Where are the anti-genocide protesters? Why are they quiet on Putin? We can care about genocide in both places, right?
Yeah, and we should. Look, what's happening on the border, what's happening in Gaza and Israel, these are tragic, awful situations. But being here in Ukraine, I can specifically speak to this, and it is that the people of this country are resisting as hard as they are because they know what it's like to live under an autocratic system. They have a long history with a very toxic relationship with Russia, and they know what they're fighting for. And we sometimes forget about all the sacrifices that have been made for our democracy, and these people are doing the same thing. They're not asking for troops. They don't want foreign troops here. They just want the means to defend themselves. And if we truly believe in liberal democracy, not only here in Ukraine, but as the line in the sand that needs to be drawn when it comes to autocracy, we need to support these people and these games. The information warfare that's going on, the manipulation of our political leaders and our media, frankly. We better wake up and recognize that we are under threat, and we either stand for our liberal democracies around the globe, or we let these autocracies run rampant over us, and that includes Trump.
Yeah, and it's right. It's not hyperbole to say our democracy could fall if Trump gets back, and he will give Ukraine to
all connected.
Putin in a nanosecond. You tweeted 700 days since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of this country I love. I believe in my heart it will not last another 700. Regardless, I'm honored, privileged, and humbled to be here to bear witness to the birth of a truly free and independent Ukraine. Slava Ukraini. I mean, that's the other talking point that Putin puts out, is that Ukraine's losing and that Russia, it's inevitable that he's going to win. I mean, you said the armed forces, people of Ukraine will never stop in resistance to oppression of Moscow. The only question for us in the West and in America in particular, do we support them or do we abandon them and watch from the sidelines as more die before the inevitable victory? That's your take on it, right?
Yeah, I am not kidding. I am humbled to be here, as frightening as it can be and as depressing and difficult as it can be. I am so heartened by these people. I have asked them, what do you want me to say to America? What message do you want me to say to America? And these beautiful, wonderful, strong people, they're not angry about the games that are being played domestically and while their own soldiers and civilians are dying. That doesn't make them angry. It frustrates them. It gives them a sense of anxiety. They don't get angry. They say, tell the American people we appreciate their support, and every word of support means everything to us. So they don't get angry. They might get frustrated and they get anxious. But you know who does get angry, Steph? I get angry. I get angry as an American. Okay? I get angry as we promised these people in the Budapest Memorandum at the fall of the Soviet Union that we would guarantee the territorial integrity of this nation, and we are letting them down. We are letting them down badly because of politics in the United States, Phill, and by a bunch of fellow travelers with Putin.
Thank you. What do you know about this breaking news? Zelensky to oust Ukraine's top general amid tension over new mobilization. What have you heard about that?
There's something going on currently, negotiations between the president and the head of the armed forces here, General Zaluzhny. General Zaluzhny has been an exceptional military leader, and there is a good relationship, at least in public, between the two. But there is clearly a difference of opinion on how to continue with the war and how to keep, bringing in service members. There's talk of another mobilization and how that would work. And this being a democratic state, it has to pass through their parliament. Right. So there's a fight internally going on between the head of the armed forces and President Zelensky. But look, no matter how that shakes out, the Ukraine, as I stated in that post there, the Ukrainian people will never stop resisting Russia because they know what it's like to live under the thumb of Moscow. The only choice that we have, the only agency that we have, is to decide whether to stand with them or to stand on the sidelines and watch as more Ukrainians die. And they will win this war. This war can be won.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how many have to die.
And to your point about Putin and his fellow travelers, as you call them here, this is Russia's is always to divide us. It started with let's divide the Hillary and Bernie people. Let's inject race into let's get into the anti-vax thing, and so. Ron tweeted, on issues such as Ukraine, Malcolm Nance is very good, but while he opposes genocide in Russia and Ukraine, he appears to support genocide by Israel and Gaza. Genocide is always wrong by any nation everywhere. Malcolm Nance does not support genocide. The Middle East is a very complex issue, Phil, but part of the problem is Putin trained and funded Hamas. This is exactly what so everybody's going crazy that Nancy Pelosi said some pro-Palestinian activists may be connected to Russia. I think she just meant they're always in their influence, right? Trying to gin up chaos and division in our country and help Trump. Right?
And if you don't think that right now, Steph, what's the largest Russian embassy in the world? Let me ask you that.
I do not know.
It's in Mexico City.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you don't think that there are Russians exacerbating things on the border in order to make matters worse domestically in the United States, you are fooling yourself. The 2016 election was absolutely meddled with. They have infiltrated the NRA, the breakfast, the annual breakfast. They infiltrated that.
Right.
We know this. Let's remember, the Mueller report was obstructed. There were at least 10 cases of obstruction in the Mueller report. So as much as it was discredited, we still don't know how badly they messed with us in 2016.
Thank you. Quickly,
I want to know.
Yeah, what Nancy Pelosi said is, make no mistake, this is directly connected, she's talking about the protests here, to what Putin would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. Well, maybe the word connected was not the right phrase, but Russia is, as you know, provably jumping into all these controversial issues to gin up chaos in America. Asked by a host whether she thought some of the activists were Russian plants, she said seeds or plants. I think some financing should be investigated. I want to ask the FBI to investigate that. She, in a statement to the Times, she said her desire is to stop the suffering in Gaza. She said Speaker Pelosi has always supported and defended the right of all Americans to make their views known through peaceful protest. She's acutely aware of how foreign adversaries meddle in American politics to sow division and impact our elections, so she wants to see further investigation ahead of the 2024 election. I totally understand what she's saying. Do you?
Oh, of course. I mean, we have to get out of our American minds and get into the minds of the Russians briefly, as difficult as that can be. They think they're at war not with Ukraine, but with us, directly with the United States, and they are acting accordingly. They really think that we are their primary, if not sole, enemy on the globe, and they are acting accordingly, which means they meddle with us as best they can. They know they can't fight us toe-to-toe, but they can mess with us, and they're very good at it. They're really good at it, and they study us more than anybody else.
Yeah, and if you don't think...
the Brits and the Americans.
Yeah, Phil, if you don't think Putin's going to double and triple and quadruple down on trying to get Trump back in office, so he will hand him Ukraine and do whatever else he wants, then you're crazy. I mean, it's... Phil, thanks so much. You are really doing the Lord's work over there, and we've linked to all your stuff, and please stay safe. And
I will do my best. There is no safe place in Ukraine, but I'm not going anywhere because these people are amazing, and we need to stand with them, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and talk about it, and I'll do it anytime you want me.
Only two more words.
Slava Ukraini.
I was just going to say, only two more words to say. Slava Ukraini.
Well, yeah, the answer is Geroyam Slava, and you give my best to that Malcolm Nance character.
We will.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Phil.